Hi, happy Monday from a very refreshingly rainy Barbados. Today is chapter 6 from Things I Would Have Told My Children If I Had Them, An Adult's Guide to Living in Connection. Chapter 6 is titled Strength and Humanity. Open quote. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. End quote. Pastor Martin Niemöller. Strength is qualified and defined in many ways. Some strengths are described as physical properties, some are skills, some are character traits. Strength in any form exists relationally. For me, true personal, character-based, emotional, and psychological strength considers that in an interdependent world, we cannot be strong as individuals if we do not also invest in the strength of those we affect and are affected by. For me, true strength is grounded in our humanity. What is your definition of strength? Is it based solely on your personal experience, or does it include how you impact or influence others? Is there truly strength if we are only concerned with our personal experience? What about all the others impacted for us to achieve it? We are collectively weaving together the social fabric that defines our humanity. Like happiness, and not wanting our happiness to be built on a condition that others be unhappy, our concept of strength must be built on a foundation that does not require the suffering of or weakening of another. We can explore an analogy involving food as something we need to be strong, has both physical and emotional implications for how we experience life, and for which we rely on others to greater or lesser degree. The truth of our collective relationship to food is that many of the people who work to feed us can barely feed themselves. They are being exploited. They are treated as disposably as the plastic we throw out that is choking the earth, the sea animals, and our human bodies. Not to mention the unspeakable nightmare facing the animals in the meat industry. Human beings, plastic bottles, animals in the meat industry are all part of a culture that objectifies, exploits, and creates waste on an astronomical scale. I am vegan for animal rights reasons. I was not always vegan, and I did not become vegan and then stick to it forever. I went through lots of personal transitions and experiences, which led me to a deeper understanding of myself and how I impact our collective consciousness and expressions of our humanity. Whilst there are some people with health conditions or life circumstances related to where they live that may make it a requirement, the science that once said indefinitely that animal-based protein was supreme has been largely overturned. I am not claiming to be a Zen god who never kills an ant or who hasn't feared the sting of a centipede and killed it out of fear of the same. I don't assume a position of piety, but I do call myself out, and I do look to reduce those impulses when they are based on irrational fears and not legitimately self-defense. So I don't expect those who don't share my perspective to try to change overnight. I don't want that people feel judged. However, I do think that we need to acknowledge that our choices have expansive, multidimensional, and interconnected impacts. This is the impetus for my words here. When I came to my current convictions, what I felt was from factory farming to small scale farming, if it is not necessary, why add to the suffering in the world? Animal welfare arguments for humane ways to keep animals and slaughter them I feel, reinforce the idea that we have the right to take life unnecessarily, especially as we have long been out of the food chain that we so often reference to justify our behavior. Yes, lions eat antelopes. They participate in a delicate balance of life in a vast and intricate ecosystem. Notably, we are learning and slowly accepting that these interactions are part of a continuum of cooperation and not competition. We now have an opportunity to understand that lions are not exuding their dominance, but are keeping the balance. They are part of a system of ecological intelligence, which is far more advanced than our collective humanity, currently so fixed on power over others, has yet to fully understand. As human beings, we must therefore measure ourselves not against our perceptions of the morality of other animals, but based on a morality grounded in our unique role in the web of life. Strength is also predicated on cooperation and not competition, not strength over, but strength with. What kind of strength do you draw upon? People say to me, what about the suffering of plants? Well, I think if they do suffer again, we do not need to bring more suffering into the world. We don't need to add the suffering of other animals who are like us, full of nerves and experience pain, care for their young, and form attachments to others, etc. We also don't need to add to the suffering of human beings working in meat factories in toxic conditions, treated horribly and struggling to survive. In my basic logic philosophy class, all those many moons ago, I had an insightful professor who, as part of the class, had us discuss the Star Trek Next Generation episode, The Measure of a Man. In this episode, a debate about whether it is ethical to upload the consciousness of the artificial intelligence android Commander Data, clone him, and create an army of Datas owned and controlled by Starfleet. The discussion on sentience emerges as a criteria for determining if Data has rights or whether he is the property of Starfleet and has no say in what happens to him. In his courtroom defense of not cloning Data, Captain Picard renders the issue of sentience irrelevant and says the following, open quote, Your Honor, the courtroom is a crucible. In it, we burn away irrelevancies until we are left with a pure product, the truth for all time. Now, sooner or later, this man or others like him will succeed in replicating Commander Data. And the decision you reach here today will determine how we regard this creation of our genius. It will reveal the kind of people we are, what he is destined to be. It will reach far beyond this courtroom and this one android. It could significantly redefine the boundaries of personal liberty and freedom, expanding them for some, savagely curtailing for others. Are you prepared to condemn him and all who come after him to servitude and slavery? Noting that this is not a commentary on or promotion of the use of AI and humanoid robots, I chose this example as a good one for making my point. That is, I believe that how we treat others reflects the strength of our humanity and is an indication of who we are destined to be. Our exploitation of each other animals, and our planet is a condemnation of ourselves, each other animals, and our planetary home to servitude and slavery. It is a weakening of the best of what humanity has the potential to be. Whilst we cannot control the behavior of others, and certainly you or I cannot solve all of these challenges, we can look for opportunities where we can make some difference. We can look to build our collective strengths. As with everything in life, There is the personal reality that is about us, and then there's the collective reality that is about us as part of an array of infinite conditions and connections involved in creating our experience. Like the food we feed ourselves, we need to invest in the strength that helps us live a life in harmony with ourselves, other beings, and the planet. We need to weave a fabric for humanity that lives in that strength and is built to endure. I am still on my journey of accountability and look for opportunities for reflection, to see myself more clearly and to consider how my choices may impact others and weaken the fabric of our humanity. Join me in building our collective strength and not eroding it. Key points. Is there truly strength if we are only concerned with our personal experience? What about all the others impacted for us to achieve it? There is no way to harm others in an interdependent world and not also in some way harm ourselves. How we treat others and our planetary home reflects the state of our humanity and who we are destined to be. Like the food we feed ourselves, we need to invest in the strength that helps us live a life in harmony with ourselves, other beings, and the earth. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for coming. Please like and subscribe. Buy my books on Amazon. Send me a message. Talk to me about your feelings about this. And may you have the strength and the courage to move through your day. Take care.